I have an unwavering love for Casio watches. I went to school at a time when if you had either the Casio TV remote watch or the Casio calculator watch, that was pretty much the coolest thing you could own. No Omega, no Rolex would be able to compete with either of those watches in the playground. And since then, I've developed a real love for the no frills entry-level Casio, specifically this 100-meter dive watch and the F91W, which is the other Casio that I wear almost on a daily basis. These no frills watches are just excellent value. They're near bulletproof. This and the F91W are almost bulletproof. They're so cheap. This is like £15. F91W is like £12. Put a £5 NATO strap on it and you've got quite a nice individual watch. This one's oil filled. It has an oil filled mod, so it's filled with a very light viscosity silicone oil, which gives it an extremely high water resistance rating. Obviously I don't know the exact water resistance rating of this watch, but there was a guy on one of the forums who works on offshore oil rigs, and he sent his watch down to nearly 1,000 meters. That was an F91W, and that came up working fine. So you're talking well in excess of 1,000 meters, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 meters. There will be a point at which there'll be so much pressure on the case that the quartz movement inside will either stop working or the case will break. But you're talking an extreme amount of pressure for what is like a £15 watch and a few pence worth of oil. His watch that guy did on the forum wasn't even silicone oil. He just used olive oil out the kitchen, and then you've got 1,000 meter water resistance rating on your £12 Casio, which is pretty insane. So yeah, I really enjoy this watch, the 100-meter dive watch, the F91W. It's had the oil mod and it's got the NATO strap on it. So I don't have the ability to test the water resistance rating, but I know one of the things I read online was be careful about extremes of temperature, because if the watch gets in a very hot environment, the oil inside is going to expand and oil is going to leak out past the seal, or in a very extremely cold environment, the oil is going to contract and could potentially suck in a bit of air past the seal, or you might just end up with the bubble inside. So I tested this myself at home. I really wanted to know what is the durability of my £15 oil-filled Casio watch. So I heated the oven up to about 60 degrees C. I had my thermometer in there as well, which was reading about 60 degrees C, which realistically is the hottest temperature you'll ever experience pretty much anywhere in the world. I think 58 degrees was the hottest temperature ever recorded in Death Valley. You're never going to get 60 degrees C in the UK, but I wanted to test it. I didn't want to destroy the watch. I could have put it in the oven, 250 degrees C and destroyed it, melted it. That wasn't really the point of this. I wanted the watch to live afterwards so I could still use it. I just wanted to test what would happen in extremes of heat. So I left it in the oven for an hour at 60 degrees C. Not much really happened, but on very close inspection around the back plate of the watch where it meets the plastic casing, there was very slight evidence of some oil pushing past the seal. Not much at all, almost unnoticeable, but using a little bit of paper I kind of pushed it around just to confirm it was actually oil and not just some residue that was there before. It seeped out a very, very small amount of oil. Not much at all, but I was kind of expecting that to happen with the heat. Oil's expanded and a little bit pushed past the oil seal. Straight after doing that, I took the watch, even while it was hot, while it was at 60 degrees C. Quick inspection, then I placed it straight in the freezer. It was in the freezer for about an hour and a half. From being in the freezer, after an hour and a half, it developed a very, very small, a fairly small air bubble. The air bubble was probably 2.5, maybe 3 millimeters across. That dissipated with time. After about an hour, the size of the air bubble dropped from around 3 millimeters down to 1 millimeter. And then I just thought, well, maybe I'll warm it up and see what happens. So I put it back in the oven for another half an hour, again at 60 degrees C. And funnily enough, the air bubble completely disappeared, and it's still gone now. So through a complete heat cycle of fairly extreme heat and fairly extreme cold, far in excess of hot and cold you'd ever experience in the UK, the watch is fine. So I just wanted to run that as a little experiment. I know a few people doing the oil mod on this watch. It's been, I don't know, 6-8 months, something like that, since I've done it. The watch is keeping perfect time. The battery's not dead. Some people said, oh well, you know, if you put an analog watch, not just a digital watch like the F91W, but a watch with moving hands, the oil's going to make the battery run out. No, not really. I mean, even if the battery dies after a year, just put another battery in it, it's not going to be a big deal. The watch is keeping perfect time. More than anything, for the oil fill mod, I'm never really going to go down to 1,000 meters. I mean, it's really nice to do it, just because why not have an oil filled watch? Why not have a watch with a water resistance rating that's probably well in excess of 1,000 meters? But it makes the dial a lot easier to read. You can look at the watch at some fairly extreme angles and still be able to tell the time. That's due to the oil being inside the watch and helping with the refraction as the light bounces through it. But that's just a little update on the watch. I'm pretty impressed with it for a £12 watch with a 10 pence worth of oil in it. It worked amazingly. The guy that did the deep sea watch, the offshore oil rig with the F91W, only put olive oil in there. It wasn't even silicone oil. He just put some olive oil out the kitchen, about a penny's worth of olive oil in his £12 F91W, and ended up with a watch with a water resistance rating of I think he got 984 meters, nearly 1,000 meters. So it's pretty good going. So my love of these Casio watches, especially these bulletproof cheap entry-level ones, I don't even know how you kill one of these things. I mean, people like G-Shocks, but I just think this diver, the F91W, a bulletproof, tried and tested, especially the F91W, is like ubiquitous among the military in the UK, and that's for a reason, because it's cheap and it's reliable. It's like the AK-47 of the watch world. That's a little bit of an update. My love for these watches continues to grow. You don't need a £5,000 watch to fall in love with. Just something that has a bit of character about it, like I think these Casios do. Whether you've got the TV remote control watch, whether you've just got the cheapest entry-level Casio, I think they have so much to offer. I love wearing this watch. Just so proud of it. Just so proud to have like a £15 watch that's oil filled with a depth rating of 1,000 meters. I think it's brilliant. Definitely brings out the inner school child in me. It's great out here in the outdoors. And if it does get broken, you're not going to shed any tears. You haven't broken your Rolex. You just go down to Argos and get another one. So that's just a little update on the watch. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I'm going to finish off the walk with the dog, and I'll see you in the next video.